resistance there at 102. Overall, the trend does remain bearish, so we need to keep that in mind. This may just be a corrective move higher in the short term. We're also approaching the end of the month as well, so we need to keep that in mind, that there may be some window dressing or some covering of short positions here going on at the moment. Taking a look at euro US dollar, so Christine Lagarde's comments yesterday buckled the euro really. We did have some support here at this pink band that we've got on the chart, which is no longer the case because we've just absolutely torn through it. But yesterday we can see this really nasty candle. So ultimately, within the long-term sort of trend of things, we hit that 61.8% fib level, which dates all the way back to the highs that we posted back here in January earlier this year, down to these lows that we posted in September. We've got a nice retracement to that level, at which point the sellers stepped in. So this is under a bit of pressure for the time being. Nasty move yesterday, engulfing all of the previous day's gains. A bearish outside candle, in fact, and looking as though that may trigger some further losses in the short term. In terms of where the supports lie, we've got some support around here at 108.44. Any resistance or any moves higher likely to be capped, I think, around 110.40 before maybe further selling takes place. So a little bit mixed there, and certainly under pressure, and certainly likely to be more volatility. Let's take a look at cable, see what's happening there. So the trend line in cable is still holding for the time being. So this is from these lows back in September last year. We can see that the trend line is still holding despite that very bearish turnaround that we saw yesterday. Although we are below that trend line at the moment, so we really need to see a fight back pretty quickly today to see if this trend line is indeed going to hold. Very pivotal level, it would seem. Certainly going by the longer term trend, so keep an eye out for that. But yesterday, of course, was a really nasty bearish candle with the dollar strength that we saw, so we do need to keep that in mind. Looking at some of these yen currencies, so this is dollar yen. So again, a bit of a mixed bag here. We've got dollar strength, and we had some yen weakness off the back of what we saw overnight, potentially forming some sort of top here. Arguably, this could be a left shoulder, this could be a head, this could potentially be a right shoulder, in which case then the neckline comes in at around 138.19. So if that starts to break down, then maybe we have completed some sort of top, and we may see a further decline in the price of this. So this would be dollar weakening and yen strengthening, if that's to be the case. Some of these other yen currencies have seen some big moves too. Euro yen, we've highlighted this level here. This was the trend support line, and that has been broken. We saw that happen on Thursday, so yesterday. Overnight, we've seen a really big candle with lots of indecision there. Big move to the upside, big move to the downside. Prices kind of where they or close to where they closed on the Thursday. But interestingly, what we have here is the completion of a double top pattern. So these are the two tops that I'm referring to. This therefore was the neckline of that pattern, which was at 153.32. And now we've completed that double top, we can start potentially predicting where prices may fall on the downside. So we take a measurement of that double top pattern that we have, project it lower, and that indicates that prices may get down towards 148.66. So we've seen a break of the short-term trend. We've got a double top formation. We do have some support here at 151.61. But if this 153.34 level now acts as resistance, it may trigger further losses in the short term. Potentially, where's the arrows gone? Towards this level here, 148.66. Let's take a look at New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, because we've got a request on that. So this, for the time being, is holding the short-term trend support. You can see we've got a couple of touch points here coming in for the third now, which would validate this as being a trend, potentially finding some support here in the short term. Overall, pretty range-bound stuff on New Zealand dollar versus Japanese yen. We can see we did overshoot it a little bit there, but lower down here we've got multiple support zones. So really, this pullback has just put it in the middle of that range for the time being. One thing I can potentially make out here is some sort of topping formation here, and it's actually easier to show this on the 4-hour chart. What I'm looking at, this potential head and shoulders tops. We've got maybe a left shoulder here, a head, a right shoulder, which is a little bit more complex, but the neckline for me would have been a break of 86.21, which we've now seen, and we've also taken out the downward sloping neckline as well. So when you see these kind of downward sloping head and shoulders at the top of an uptrend, they can be often quite good and play out quite nicely. So based on that, we take a measurement from, I always go from the horizontal rather than the actual breakpoint. I just prefer the horizontal lines. I think they're easier to work with. So that could suggest maybe downside targets towards 82.75 over the short to medium term on New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. But looking at the daily chart, we do have this trend line still holding and finding some support for the time being. So we need to keep that in mind as well. Is there any other requests for currencies?
No.
Okay.
No, I think we were a bit late on the YouTube stream. It wasn't sort of like going. I just got it
Right.
going. So yeah, but no other requests on there.
Okay. Let's move on to the indices then.
Yeah, obviously indices said thank you very much and did okay yesterday. And we can see overnight also we've had a little bit of a reaction higher. We're challenging this resistance in FTSE up just above the 7,700 level. Support coming in 76.25. Signs of it slowing down over this last week. Look like we were topping out a little bit, but today's price action may be arguing with that and saying no, we're not topping out. We're looking to move higher, but really has to break that resistance first to get going. Germany 40, really good day yesterday. New all-time high. Did we eke out 64.46? Yes, 64.46. So, and we've stalled here though. So price action today is really key and really important. We are Friday coming into the end of the week. It's been a pretty volatile week in the DAX, and yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We've got some figures I think later, but nothing really directly affecting DAX, but it will be dragged about by the US markets. Not so clever for the Dow Jones yesterday, bearish outside candle, so that's pretty negative. So that does fill me with a little bit of hope. I may be able to find an indice to sell because I love selling indices. And but I suppose we could say there was a bit of a reverse trend line here. It's like a trend line that we joined up and we had as quite a significant upward trending support line. It broke down, rallied, it's acted as resistance. Will it do a job again today? On the Dow, we're sort of like close to levels that we haven't seen since February last year. We've taken out April 22 high, and yeah, but overall you see that that daily candle is looking pretty ominous at the moment. So yeah, be careful with those indices. Yeah, not a great one in NASDAQ, but we've had a little bit of a rally squeeze this morning. And same with S&P. It looks like quite a toppy candle to me, making quite a significant high, then reversing sharply, and support coming in really around about that 45.30 level in S&P. Breakdown below there, I think, opens up the downside. Plenty of scope for a correction after this impulsive move higher. So Stevie's got his little fingers out thinking like, what shall I click on? One thing, yeah, let's go to gun to head, Joe, because I'm quite excited now. We have covered gold already, so if you sort of like jump back in the video and then have a look at that. But overall, breaking down yesterday, gold, and the two levels to watch: 1935 and 1980. That's the range, and that's quite pivotal. Still potential for upside move, but maybe forming a right shoulder at 1935.
Cool.
Mid-range.
Lovely. Right. So gun to the head trades. This is where Steve and I pick trade ideas live on the stream as if we had a gun to our head. A couple of basic rules. Stops and targets are a necessity on all the trade ideas that we post. We must have risk reward ratios of 2 to 1 or better. The trades are closed at 9 p.m. UK time unless the stops or the targets are reached in the meantime, and we risk 1% of trading capital per trade on these ideas. So, Steve, you traded Bund yesterday, did you say?
I did. I traded Bund, mate. I just got a bit excited, a bit carried away. And I'll show you what I did. I sort of like, I was really struggling with anything else. And as you can see, it didn't play out. Ooh, not that one. I'm a bit disappointed now because what I did say yesterday, obviously I'm disappointed if I lose. Let me just get rid of this, whatever that is. This was the risk level up at 134.35. That, and we were trading all the way down at like 133.35. So it's like a 100-point stop. And because it's an intraday trade idea, I thought I could be a bit tighter than that. Felt like we were going to break down through these support levels. Obviously, didn't expect the Bank of Japan trade overnight, but also didn't expect this sort of like midday rally, which my stop was at 134.16 and it got up to 134.23. So I was taken out by 6 ticks. But you can see overnight, obviously, with that, when interest rates go up, the bund goes down. Basically, the bond is directly affected by interest rate decisions, both on short and long term. But yeah, so the volatility's increased somewhat over the last few hours. Obviously, overnight it's been pretty lively, and had been down to 132.13. My target was way lower than that, so I did have still had quite a chunky stop, but got taken out. Naughty bund. I just got excited because I haven't traded that for years. So, but now that I can trade it, I might be doing it on our account a little bit more, especially with interest rates being a little bit more, in the market, moving, at least moving, instead of sort of like being stagnant for years and years and years.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's have a look at some ideas for today then, shall we? I've got one ready if you want me to go, Steve.
Yeah, let's go.
Unless you've got one.
No.
Okay, I'm looking at Euro Oz and was just looking through some charts here. This is the daily chart on Euro Oz. So obviously these are intraday trades that we're looking for. So we're looking for pretty instant reactions and sort of short-term moves. So as we can see on the daily chart, things have been trapped within a pretty tight range here for a period of time now, dating back to the 27th of June. Until where we are today. So it's been a big move higher over today already. It's already up by 1%, but it is coming up against this resistance here at 165.53. Now looking at the intraday chart, so this is the hourly chart that I've got here, we can see this is sort of roughly the top end of the range that we've got on the daily chart. Yes, we had a little bit of an overshoot there. But there was a nice little reversal forming when I was looking at this a moment ago, which was tempting me. And I haven't got enough time to change my mind now. So I'm going to go with this and sell it, if possible, Steve, with a stop loss at 165.67. Let's go 165.68.
I had 165.70 in my little
All right, go with that.
calculator.
Go with
Yeah.
that. It might
Okay.
be helpful. Give me an
And
extra few
target?
ticks. The target for me is 163.67.
Yeah,
So
nice
about
3.8 to 1.
3.3,
Yeah. Well,
3.8.
yeah.
Lovely. Get it on.
Yeah. Decent. Yeah.
Okay.
Like that, Joe. That shooting star candle would be nice. That
Yeah, well, obviously
resistance.
it's got 30 minutes to go, but yeah, let's hope there's a bit of weakness there to form that candle and maybe get more behind this as a short trade. Over
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah. I think sort of like gold has potential to sort of continue the move lower. But I quite like the fact that these markets are stalling ever so slightly at the highs. So it's a case of let's get it on. Let's go Euro 50. I think you tried to sell this at the start of the week, Joe, didn't you?
Yes.
And
It went on to hit target. I was stopped out
that's
by.
right. Yeah. And then it had that
I wasn't
rally.
stopped
Yeah.
out. I was timed out. I think it was a £2 offside or something. I was just a day early.
Yeah. Let's look at this. And look on the downside. Yeah. It's 2.2 to 1. I was thinking maybe a bit more of a. There we go. I'm short of that. Yeah, really sort of like looking at it a bit toppy. The 4-hour candle has posted that bearish engulfing candle. Looks quite aggressive. We've had a rally back to the midpoint of that candle, and I'm hoping for it to stall. The hourly candle looks pretty bearish the last hour, so hopefully to get to follow through there and not get anywhere near that previous high. If we do get a break of that 44.13, it opens up the downside. Yes, a short of EU 50.
Okay, good luck. Let's have a look then what's out for the rest of the day. So as we mentioned already, US PCE prices index, another inflation number that will be well watched by the Federal Reserve. Overnight on Monday or Sunday into Monday, we've got the Chinese PMI data. So that will be something for us to wake up to on Monday morning, potentially moving markets. Throughout the rest of the week, we've got the Australian Reserve Bank policy decision. We've got US ISM manufacturing, US ADP, Bank of England policy decision, US ISM services index, and then we've got non-farm payrolls and Canadian employment report on Friday. So lots happening next week, and promises to be another volatile one, I would assume. So that's it from us today and for the week. So thank you for everybody that's watched throughout the week. We hope it's been useful and enjoyable. And we will be back on Tuesday. We'll be back because we'll be in the office on Monday. So we look forward to hopefully seeing you then.
Cheers all.
Bye-bye.